Is he?
All right. Good afternoon. This is the Town of Bridgewater Open Space Committee meeting. It's May 27th, 2026 at 1 p.m. We are meeting in the Academy building and we are also on Zoom. And I will call the meeting to order. And we have joining us Pat Neary, a member of the public, and Maureen Manasian is on, is that right? On Zoom?
Yes.
We're waiting for Maureen's face to show us. She's
There.
there.
Oh, there we go. Yep.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. All right. John Fitzgerald, our third member, could not join us today, but Maureen and I constitute a quorum according to the advice I've received from town staff. So first of all, is there a motion to approve the minutes of the March 11th, 2026 meeting? Maureen, did you have a chance to look at those by any chance, or do you want to make a motion to approve them in any case? Is she muted? I see the red,
Yeah, I'll ask you.
yeah. There, okay.
Hello, can you hear me now?
We can hear you now. Yes, you are unmuted.
Oh, good. Well, we're fighting it.
Okay, did you hear my request?
Yes,
okay.
Go ahead and I'll approve.
All right.
Yeah, the meetings.
Thank you, and thank you for joining us, Maureen.
Yes.
All right, first of all, any public comment on any items that do not appear on the agenda? No, okay. All right, so let's, item old business. Open space plan update. I think, Pat, were you at the last public meeting?
I was on Zoom, right?
Yeah, and Janet also was on it, and I was on it, so I don't think Shane needs to update us particularly about that. I mean, you can tell us where we stand.
Sure.
And when the comments are due, particularly if there's anybody else who wants to submit comments that might be listening to this sometime before they're due.
Sure. I just wanted, because we just posted on Facebook too, just a healthy reminder to those watching at home or in attendance. Draft of the open space recreation plan is now available on the town website. Public comment period is open until Sunday, May 31st, 2026. So if you have any comments, there's a direct link on the open space and recreation plan. If you have the plan on the website, if anyone has any questions about it, please send me some comments. But I also wanted to kind of, while I'm here, in terms of reach out to you and Maureen regarding looking for a letter of review additionally too. So I'm going around to different boards and commissions. I got this for planning board. I got this. I'm on Parks and Rec next Monday, asking for letters of review to help with our submission to the state for this.
And what do you want in that? I mean, you're saying review as opposed to comment? I mean,
yeah, it's just saying that there's just support from the committee.
Okay.
I think I forwarded you over the letter that was sent in 2017.
Oh, okay. I missed that.
Similar language. I think Kevin Mandeville sent it last time.
Okay. All right.
So similar language. You guys can
Yep.
spice it up to whatever way you want. But just looking for a letter of review and support.
And what's the deadline for that?
Sooner the better. Prior to us submitting it to the state. Just we want to include it as part of the package.
And the date you plan to submit is?
Probably end of June, probably mid-June, just so we can get to the state and they can get their comments to us. The grant ends at the end of the fiscal year, so we'll have Beals and Thomas will not be available after the fact. So we'll be sending it and submitting it at the end of the fiscal year. Just based on the contract that we have with them.
All right. And then do you expect any kind of major comments from the state, or have you already kind of worked out with them what they expect to see, and that's what we're doing?
I think the expectation is that Beals and Thomas, based on their experience with doing open space and recreation plans, have it meet the state requirements for what the workbook requires. So I don't expect a lot of comments, but I think they may come back with a couple minor tweaks that we'll probably have to in the future addressed with this committee as well as town council
Oh,
in terms of for that final submission. So I don't know how many people have actually squeaked through, you know.
Oh,
on
so
the- on the
this is
first
just the
draft.
draft that's going.
This is the draft. It's
Oh.
essentially like a final draft.
I see, okay, I
And
didn't realize
then-
that, okay,
We'll resubmit and
okay,
finalize because I think we submitted this open space and recreation plan in 2017, like in the middle of the year, but then it didn't come into play until January. So
oh,
it might be something we send over to the state in June and July and then get some comments back in the fall. And then our final plan will be, you know, albeit minor changes,
I see.
probably
Oh,
be
okay.
ready for the fall and
Okay.
winter time.
All right, well, I'm glad I asked that, because yeah, I thought this was the.
I think it's just gonna be minor.
But
I would say that even the document itself, you know, it's gonna be minor tweaks. It's
Right.
not gonna be
Yes.
the content itself. We're not gonna change like demographic data and census data. It is
Right.
what it is.
Right.
It's just more so making sure that from our end, especially now with the comment period, is making sure that we're reflecting what the residents and people's comments are in terms of the plan, but additionally making sure that we conform to
Yep.
what the state's expectations are.
Okay,
May I ask?
yes, please do.
I just want to know, once it's finalized.
Yep.
Does that mean it's etched in stone that, things can't be changed? Because it's usually on for like 10 years or something, right? Isn't that-
I would say that regarding a lot of these plan updates, same with the master plans, it's more of a guidance document. The biggest thing that I've talked to Eileen about too, and from a townwide perspective, is making sure that we're still eligible and having an active open space and recreation plan for the next 10 years. So we don't have to worry about updating it or tweaking it too much until 2036. Of course, things will change in terms of financial opportunities and opportunities for, you know, certain properties within town, whether it be through agricultural restrictions or conservation restrictions, but albeit it's more so a guiding document that doesn't have specific goals, but overarching goals like preservation of farmland.
It doesn't necessarily lock something good or bad.
No, there's
Right.
nothing locked,
Nothing long.
locked into there.
That's
So, you know, I think in the 2017 plan, there was some information about expansion of trails and utilization of trails. So that'd be something that was utilized for Styles and Hart. It didn't say specifically, we need to do, you know, this part of Styles and Hart and this. It was just more so trail expansion and ADA accessibility, et cetera. So very general in terms of some of the goals, but enough where the state understands where Bridgewater is looking to kind of produce and update open space and recreation in the future. You know, it's nothing, you know, it's not saying we need a soccer stadium or, you know, one of those tennis bubbles that you see in like Newport or something. It's just, it's more realistic and it's based on the 2009 plan, the 2017 plan. So we're just kind of maintaining that consistency.
And I might just,
It's a pleasant.
Sure.
I might just add too, that it doesn't bind us to anything. I mean, one of the kind of, negative aspects of that I remember about the plan is when we were working on Lake Nipponicket issues over the last couple of years, that it's clearly in the plan that it's a beautiful vista and that it's an area of environmental concern, et cetera, et cetera. But when it comes to actually going through the permitting process, that's not going to have any real legal impact. It's something that the permitting agencies are supposed to consider and do, I suspect, but it's, anything in there is, again, just guidance, really. And it's sort of what the town aspires to, what our aspirations are as far as different parcels and preservation and things like that. But
It's essentially for someone coming new into town, that kind of a summary to say, hey, this is where we're at. This is where we've been. This is what we're looking
Right,
to do
yep.
kind of
Yep.
in the future.
Okay. Pat, do you have any questions or comments?
I do not.
All right, Maureen?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. And thank you, Janet, for your questions. So, and Shane, and I'm going to meet with Shane afterwards just to go through the document in a hard copy because I'm not very adept at making comments online, and just couple things just in terms of how where the open space committee might be referenced or not, and there's a couple points for the work we did at Wyman Meadow with Wildlands Trust, and I'd like some reference to the Wildlands Trust partnership that we created and stuff. So a couple little things like that. So, okay, parks publicity. speaking of Wyman, so if you recall, we did 3 videos last year. We did a video of Carver Pond, Ironworks, and Tittagat. And those were posted for view on, well, a number of places on the town website, but also on Buzz Around Bridgewater. And then we had 2 left to do, Wyman and Stiles and Hart. And I went out with Jeff and Al Lacerda a couple of weeks ago to do the Wyman filming, and it started to rain, so we couldn't do it. And we were going to go out another time, and now we're all fearful of ticks because the grass has grown pretty tall there. I know, but they didn't want to go. But anyway, and they suggested I might take the camera myself if I wanted to get all tick outfitted, but I was not confident of my ability to film. So anyway, we'll wait till sometime in the fall, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Ticks are kind of a year-round phenomenon now, but sometimes they're worse than ever. And I think right now, I'll have to. What I need to do too is get the schedule when Wyman is mowed by Wildlands Trust, because they're the ones who take care of that. So it might be that the path was not mowed recently, and that was kind of what spooked them when they saw it, if the grass was quite high. So anyway, so that has not been done. But the other reason that's okay too is because, and if anyone's driven out there recently, Plymouth Street is torn up at the end of the access road to the Wyman Meadow Trail, as well as to the town water supply, because they're working on those 2 wells. So it's been dug up for about a month now. There's, orange cones and bare dirt, and it's going to be that way until the end of July, according to the person I talked to on the site who's working for the consulting company. And it is the consulting company that's actually going to be paving that area and finishing the driveway at the end. So we have to get ourselves in place with them via whoever in the town can help with us, whether it's Jim Small or Paul DaCosta, because we need to get a pole in while they're we don't want to wait for it to be paved and then we have to go out and tear it up. And the other thing the person noted to me is it's going to be difficult because there is a hydrant on one place and there's hydrant on one side and telephone pole on the other. So we're going to have to be strategic about where we put a sign, but we also need to be strategic about when we try to get it done, because it sounds like the end of this project, the water project, which is on a schedule, but of course could run over too, is when it needs to be put up. So anyway, just for reference. And then Stiles and Hart, I'm not particularly interested in doing either until it's completed. I mean, I know there are still issues about what needs to be finished, and it is in use, and there are some signs up there, so it's not that nothing's done. But I think we'll wait till the fall to do that one too, probably. Okay. I just gave the report I was going to give about Wyman. I was speaking about parks publicity, but basically address the Wyman North Fork conservation area issues as far as getting the sign up. So that's taken care of as well. Tree committee, Pat.
Hello.
Report? I have not been on tree committee call, and I haven't listened in some time. What's going on?
Well, we have been just doing a lot of routine items. We did have the Bill Maltby dedication on May 6th, just to show our gratitude for his service of the last 20 years, unpaid, by the way. We do have a new tree warden, and he's been really helpful in pointing out, problems that we have with various town trees and how we can remedy some of them, and others have to come down. Not a lot, but there's some damage from the ash tree borer, and we also have beech trees on the common. He's pointed out that we have to take care of and replace in the future. But one of the big things, and we met with Josh this past week because we're interested in having a website for the tree committee, just to get a little exposure of what we do and possibly pass on information about trees and remedies for problems. And maybe I'm hoping that we can figure out or at least get applications from people that want to identify whether they have a town tree or a private tree on their property if it's near the street or the front of their property and they don't know how to do it. So I've asked the tree warden if he would come up with some sort of plan so that people could apply to him and then get an answer. So they're not cutting down town trees. And that's pretty much it, I think. We're hoping at some point to get some new members, as every committee in town does. And our chair, Ray Ajamian, mentioned he would like to get some younger people. So good luck with that.
Yeah, Ray was asking, was it Shane or Josh at the Hanson event about more committee members? And I interrupted to say, no, me first, open space only has 3.
Ray actually has
Right.
to quit and then become a member, so.
Yeah, but yeah, Ray's argument was, yeah, like the age of your committee is averages in 80s or something. But you guys are doing a great job, so I don't think you need anybody else. I think they need to come here. Anyway. All right, so thank you, Pat. That sounds a great idea to have people be able to find out the status of and just to raise awareness of the fact that they're not their tree. Everybody, yeah.
True.
All right, Maureen, have you been able to attend any community preservation committee meetings recently?
They didn't have one last month, I believe it was.
Oh, okay,
And they're having one tonight.
right.
So
And
I
I-
hope to go on tonight.
Oh, great. Okay, all right, that's great.
Did you have anything you want them to know about?
Not that I can think of. No.
Okay.
Right.
Just
And
tell them
I-
we're working on the plan.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, I guess, yeah. They, yeah, I can't remember. I mean, I think 2 of them were here. Carlton and Gina were here for our last meeting,
Okay.
which was March 11th. And we haven't met since then, so they're up to date on whatever we were talking about for that last part of the meeting, which I think included the plan, but anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Hanson Farm, I honestly don't. Maureen, you might be able to report on that if anything has happened since the opening. I have not heard of anything. I mean, I know we still are working on the trail. Have you heard anything about what the status is of that? And I don't know if I'll ask Janet also if she knows anything about it, the trail that's going to go into the back of the farm acreage that has the conservation restriction on it. It had been staked out at one point, but I know there was still some process that needed to happen.
Yeah, no, I've basically been out of state since
Yeah,
all
right.
of
Yeah.
that happened. I come in for doctor's appointments and then I leave again.
Yeah, okay. All right.
The only thing I don't know, if I'm not on the farm, but I do know that the official trail that people are gonna be able to go on the outside and go down hasn't been done, and I don't think, and if it's up to David and Bob to do it, this is not the right time of year
Oh,
for
right,
them to
yes,
be doing it, so I don't think so. I think they just still have that temporary trail that they did for people on the first day.
Okay.
But as far as I know, they haven't, and plus they need Concom to look where they want to cross over that
Oh,
creek.
right. Yeah.
They're gonna have to have Concom come
Yep.
and give the okay for what they want to do. I don't think it'd be an issue, because it's not like they'll be disturbing anything, it's just putting bridge,
Yes.
a little thing for people to go. But,
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
Wildlands was going to be part of that also.
Well, I would hope so, but I don't think anything has been done.
Yeah.
There's a sign on the post where the trail's supposed to start, that saying the
Right.
trail is closed. But I asked David the other day, if the other one that they staked out for the, the
Right.
celebration was still usable as of right now, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I personally haven't heard anything as far as the status of it, but I do not think that Bob and David have had
Yeah,
any
okay.
opportunity to do a
But-
trail.
Yeah, and that's a good question, Maureen, about wildlands. Yeah, I've kind of lost track of what their,
And if they can.
Their
do it, that'd
role
be
is-
great,
yeah,
because
yeah.
This is not the time of year for them to
Yeah.
be doing the trail.
yeah, I will check with Scott McFadden about that too, because I need to call him
I'm
about. a
sure when
couple
they're
of other things.
they're growing in relationship to where the trail's gonna be.
Yeah,
They're,
sure,
You
yeah,
know, so they'll do
right, yeah,
that,
yeah,
but.
yeah, okay. Anyway, since we last met on March 11th, and it was April 13th was the Hanson Farm dedication, and that was a really nice event, nice community event. A lot of people spoke and glowingly about the Hanson family and what a wonderful amenity the farm and the family itself are to the town, and what a wonderful thing the family has done by giving this property to the town as it has. So anyway, it was a very nice thing, and it is on YouTube if anybody hasn't seen it and would like to. Okay, thank you, Janet. Murray Needs Farm, that's, an ongoing issue. There's still discussion going on about with the Hanson family, I think, talking to the owner of the property about how they might use some of it. And we, of course, about a year ago I called the realtor that had the property listed, and we met with her a couple times to see if we could work something out that would allow the town to get access to the Murray Needs Farm, because right now there's supposed to be a trail there, but there's no place to park. So nobody uses it for that purpose. And we had talked about maybe possibly getting some kind of an easement across the Den Benson property, behind the slaughterhouse building there. And anyway, that deal, nothing happened. She was not interested. She hired a different realtor. And anyway, I know the Hansons are still talking to her about some kind of property acquisition, and hopefully something will still come of that, that we get some access through whatever happens at that, I guess, what is it? 7 acres, I think it's total of 7 acres, and then there's still a house there. There's one house, and there's the barn, and then there's open space, some of it, which is in not very good shape. There's been pavement, there's probably been some dumping, so it's not all pristine farmland by any means, but hopefully something will come of it so that we can get Murray Needs as a better public facility. So any questions about that, anybody? All right, we already talked about the need for open space committee members. We're working on Janet. Hopefully she will join one of these days. David Moore is here. Did you come to join the committee? No, I know you didn't. Yeah, right, I know. Anyway, if anybody, so I don't know. I'm not going to say anymore. Every committee needs members. We're desperate, so. All right, Pat, anything to report about Lake Nipponicket?
I don't think I have anything new for publication.
Well, just remind us what the status is, what's going on. I mean, I know I haven't been over there in a while. There's been some clearing, I guess, near the restaurant area.
Oh, you mean
The proposed, right. I'm sorry that the proposed bad idea of a restaurant, so.
it's-
Go ahead.
the residents has had some clearing next to it because there was a situation that came up, and they Claremont had cleared a couple of areas that they weren't supposed to, so there was a notice filed about that, and then ultimately they ended up getting permission to clear more instead of stopping, which made no sense, but that's the way things go sometimes. And that's why you see all that area is cleared. It was supposed to be removal of invasive species, but that isn't the way it turned out in total. But that's what you see.
It was supposed to restore it back to what it originally was, and it turned out to be this big long landscape plan. And then it ended up being, when they started cutting, they basically was worse than what they did before. And it's like a clearing, it's not, and the fact that the invasive species have been there right along. I don't think it was set out that they were supposed to remove the invasive species. The problem was that they cut and it was supposed to be, they were supposed to restore it back to its original of what they ruined. Now it's this big long thing going all the way up to that house. That's not what the damage wasn't up that far. So they're working, cease and desist, their DEP's looking at it. I don't
is
know
that
if they've
right?
given the okay to continue that. I don't know if it was a.
Was this, did it go through the Conservation Commission? Was this a Conservation
Originally.
Commission?
Original, yes.
Originally, okay. So the clearing had to be approved by the Concom, but then they went beyond that? And
No,
is,
no, the Concom approved that.
oh,
But I don't think it wasn't supposed, the damage wasn't up that far, so.
all right, it
It's a
sounds
sore
like that's
spot.
an issue, yeah. But there is some additional review at Concom or at the state, or is it done? It's just done and it's over.
It's done.
It's over, okay. All right.
They're supposed to do some more work next spring. They weren't supposed to actually do the work at this time of year because it's a bad time of year as far as, wildlife, or should I say reproductive critters in
Yeah.
that area. But they have to finish it up. Probably come fall, they're going to do some planting and landscaping.
Yeah.
Instead
Well-
of as we had hoped it would be natural, but
Mm.
that's the
Yeah.
way it goes.
Yeah, what's the status of the rest of the project? Is that still before the planning board or?
Well, the hotel is getting ready to be permitted, and that's the only project going on right now.
What happened with the proposed hospital?
That they withdrew a short while ago, but they withdrew without prejudice, so they can come back probably when they feel we don't have as many issues in town as we do right now. For example, our water. I don't really know the reasoning behind their withdrawal, but that's probably what it was, water concerns.
We were
Yeah.
told why they.
Yeah, okay. All right, thank you, Pat.
Mhm.
Hey, Pat, can I ask
Yeah.
Pat a question?
Sure.
What's the hotel permits for?
The new Hilton Garden Inn is
So
going,
there's gonna be a second hotel there?
yes, 110 room hotel.
Oh, my goodness. And who owns the part that's being torn up? Is that owned by,
That's Claremont Companies.
that is Claremont? They,
Yes,
across the street, they own that part.
they do.
Okay, okay, thank you.
All right. So let's move on to new business. We have David Moore here with us today. David, are you chair of the Historic Commission? Is that?
Yeah,
Yes, okay, all right.
for a while.
And another long timer. David talked to me, I don't know, a month or maybe more ago, about placing a plaque at Sturtevant Pond. But anyway, I'll let him describe the property, where it is and what he wants to do and why he would like our review or discussion or blessing. So,
Well, hopefully, in the near future, you'll be getting a letter from the Community Preservation Committee, because I'm going to be submitting to them for assistance in locating this plaque. So I'm here today to explain exactly what the plaque is all about. Got a couple of packages here that I put together, outlining a little bit of the history of the of the site. If you get out here, it just looks like another pond, but in reality, there are no natural ponds in Bridgewater. They're all man-made. And I even contend that the nip is man-made. But I'm not going to get into that debate. But anyways, so what happened back in the early 1700s? Some men from Bridgewater leased land from the Indians, from the Native Americans, for the purposes of damming up a stream and creating a water supply to process iron ore. And in that course of events, over a period of about 50 years, they became pretty good at it. Small amounts of iron were produced, but then it became so successful that in 1775, the Committee on Safety, I think is their official title, an early American group in Boston concerned with supplying the American Revolution with arms and so forth. And they developed the site, and it was so good that a couple of years later, Paul Revere came out and studied the process that was going on there. And he was brought out there by Colonel Orr, who was an East Bridgewater gunsmith who had been producing firearms for many years before the Revolution. And he produced many arms for the British Army. But as time went on, Paul Revere came out to study this process. And the packet I put together is a copy of some letters that were taken from the Mass Historical Commission in their archives. And there's a picture in the back of it, which is kind of the most important thing that existed there, was a cannon boring machine. Now, if you can imagine drilling a hole in a casting, whether it be bronze or iron, by hand. In iron, I'm told it took pretty close to a month, but in bronze, they were able to do it with this process in about 3 days. So it was I hate to use the word, but revolutionary process, and it really speeded up things. And it was a tremendous aid to the American Revolution. So in honor of that, I would like to put a plaque down there, not to tell the whole story, but to whet people's appetite in Bridgewater history, and maybe getting them to look a little bit further as to exactly what role the town of Bridgewater played in the American Revolution. And they can go further than that and look at what role we played in the Civil War and in other conflicts in American history and Industrial Revolution and so forth. But this was kind of our first venture into things outside of town that impacted both the state and the world. So my next step is going to be to apply to CPC for whatever aid I can get from them. This plaque, the casting of the plaque, is anywhere from $2,500 to $3,500, depending on whether it's made out of aluminum or bronze. I've got a businessman in town who will help me find a rock with a flat surface that he will locate down there and place this plaque on it. Now, exactly where it would be, if you're going down South Street, you go over the stream that leaves South Street, that goes under South Street, the dam that's there, and there's a small. Right now, it's a crude pull off on the right where you can pull a couple of cars off, but hopefully with some assistance, I don't know exactly who I'm going to approach, but if they clean that area up a little bit. So with the permission of the Conservation Commission, because it's well within the 100-foot buffer, and locate this rock in there, and so hopefully people will take notice of it and spark their interest in Bridgewater history.
Could I ask a question?
Sure.
David, is that the pond that has some new dwellings to the right of it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the kind of the right in the back, yeah.
Yeah. I just hope it doesn't get to the point where the state decides to take out that dam too, because the state is on a quest to remove as many dams as possible to increase fisheries.
Right.
And it's for a good purpose.
Right, yeah.
I admit.
Yeah.
But it will definitely change the area, but it won't change the history of the site.
Yeah.
It's a very valuable step, a long time in Bridgewater history. So
Janet, did you ask?
Where, I still don't understand where this is.
Okay,
If I go South Street from the center of town.
right.
and go
Way
all
down the
way
end of South
till you get
Street.
to Green
Oh.
Street.
Before you get
Before
to
you
Green
get there,
Street, there'll be
yeah.
a pond on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
And it's got those houses.
Yeah.
New houses.
Just after you go over the dam, I think
I
there's some
didn't even know there was a dam
guardrails.
there and just drive.
Well, the street is the dam.
Oh, okay.
The street goes over the top of the dam.
Oh.
But there's a guardrail on both sides. And just after you go, as you get to the end of the pond, as it goes down the road, right there's a place where you can pull off. The site itself of the foundry would have been on the left-hand side of the road, where it drops
Oh.
off quite steeply. And there are houses built on both sides. There's a
Yeah.
house built, well, it's been there for probably 75 years, on the site of the actual foundry and machine shop. And I've talked to them about it, and they're really excited about it. They had no idea that that kind of important history
Yeah.
took place in that neighborhood.
All right, it sounds like both a nice historic spot as well as a really nice open space spot too, because it's got that pond. Is there any, I mean, I've seen the spot. I mean, I see where the parking area is. Is there any opportunity for a view of the pond from where the rock might be?
Yes, I think if you cut down some of the brush, and thin out the vegetation
Okay.
a little bit, it'd be a nice view of the pond.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a unique, spot in town because, when I was a building inspector, the lady who owned it, who at one time owned the house that was there, which, it was quite a large house. It was a camp for, young men from the city. And, Dr. Stedman started it. And there for a while it was called Stedman's Pond. And then Dr. Sturdivant bought it and it was called Sturdivant's Pond. But when she decided to tear down the house because it had fallen into disrepair, and she had Bob Gabriel come up and take care of it. But there was a gazebo. There was a small walkway out into the pond with a gazebo. So it was quite an attractive site. And on the left-hand side of South Street, there was a path that went through the woods down to quite a large boathouse along the Taunton River there. So along the Taunton River, and the boathouse could be seen very easily from the bridge that goes into Middleborough. But the site is unique in that the deed says that the town owns the land under the pond, which is kind of unique. All of our ponds in town, you don't think of you own the land under the pond, but in this particular case, the deed describes the land under the pond because the deed goes back to the late 1600s when it was deeded to the native population who lived in the area. So it would be really neat at some time if there was a trail around the pond. There is a right of way, those houses that were built on the right-hand side of the pond, there is a right of way off of his driveway into the pond. But of course, there was a trail. I don't know where the property line is for that house, if it is the water line, or if the town still owns a little bit of it. I don't know, but it could be a really neat little trail to walk around the pond. You couldn't go. You would need a bridge because the stream that feeds the pond, as you're standing on the dam, the water that comes out of the pond, and looking over to the left. I don't remember the name of the gentleman who owns the property there, but that's where the stream comes in, and it comes in from Vernon Street area, and it feeds the pond, and it actually goes further up Vernon Street to another abandoned dam and another dam in the woods behind Mr. Veronesi's property. So it was quite an extensive water complex at the time to provide water power to operate that mill.
Okay, all right. So you're just interested in getting us to,
I'll be looking for your support. when-
yeah, to support,
get
yeah,
the
and, yeah,
application.
and are you going to CPC tonight?
I'll be there tonight.
You'll be there tonight, okay.
Then I won't have an application. ready
Right,
for
yes,
tonight,
yeah,
but,
yeah.
I may be discussing it a little further with them.
Yeah, Maureen, do you have any comments or thoughts?
Yeah. I do have I know the area you're talking about, but it's interesting to hear all that. Who are you expecting to pay for the plaque? The PCC?
I do have a few dollars left over from the Bridgewater Historical Collectors. And I may be approaching CPC for whatever I can obtain from them. Because the plaque plus locating the stone there, probably the total cost of the project may be around $4,000.
Okay.
And presumably you would have to do some sort of landscaping as well, if it's going to
Yes.
be some sort of public access or a bench or something to.
Yeah, it would be nice to have
Yeah,
that.
and something for
Yeah.
parking or something, yeah, sign, so.
Yeah.
So probably a little, I mean, you'll have to have a bigger plan than just the plaque. It sounds like
Yeah.
it's that part of what you intend to do
Uh,
at this stage or?
At this stage, no. Right
No,
now,
okay.
I want to get the rock and the
Okay,
plaque
all right.
located, and then hopefully I can get
Build the rest
interest in
of
the
it
area
around, yeah,
and
okay.
build it around it.
Okay, okay. All right, well, I think, yeah, you can certainly express that the Open Space Committee thinks it's a great idea, so, yeah.
David, do you have any language for the plaque?
The language, yes, the flyer I gave, I think
Oh,
I've still
okay.
got your email address, Pat, and I
Okay,
can email it over to you.
Okay, so this is what you, this is your draft?
Yes, that's
for-
my draft of what the plaque will look like.
Okay.
And it's, I've got a gentleman from northern Michigan, the Upper Peninsula, who has done a lot of work on foundries in New England. And he helped me with some of that research.
Mhm.
And then recently, a lot of the material I provided in this packet was given to me by Tom Perkins. He found it in the archives of the Perkins Foundry when they were cleaning out,
Oh.
or when they recently closed it.
Interesting, huh?
Especially the write-up on Colonel Orr. There's very little, he was a very important figure in American history, in regional American history. He was a member of the colonial legislature and so forth. I passed it over to East Bridgewater Historical Commission because his main facility was in East Bridgewater.
yeah.
And right now, it's just marked by a rock on the side of the road, his foundry site. So, significant piece of, well, I can go on
You could
talking
go
about
on
war,
forever.
history
Right,
forever.
right.
Yeah,
They did a lot
Okay.
of neat stuff over there.
ask a question. You mentioned that you're trying to decide between aluminum or bronze.
Yes,
Aluminum doesn't seem like it would be, I know it's cheaper, but it's not as sturdy. I mean, how,
well, I'm told the alloys in the aluminum would make it pretty durable. To put out there as far as corrosion and everything goes. My concern of going with aluminum, it might deter the criminals because bronze does have a value to it.
Higher value, yeah.
Thieves.
Oh, well, okay, yeah.
So that's my only concern.
Yeah. All right, so many other issues to be determined, I guess.
Yep.
Okay, all right, well, thank you. And you have what you need from us, our
Yep.
endorsement, support, whatever, and we'll expect we'll hear from you again at some point as it moves forward.
I'll be around.
All right. Oh my gosh, there was okay, so the next item, I'm hoping you can maybe help us out on this. So the other thing, well, two things. I'm gonna jump to the pond at High and Cross Street. So that items B and C are combined. I was approached by
Mike Costa.
Mike Koska, thank you. About 2 months ago, I guess, I had talked with him years ago about some property in Bridgewater that we were interested in, Open Space was interested in pursuing and trying to get some donation or something from him. And we never, he was non-responsive basically at the time. Scott McFadden who is property acquisition director, I think is his name, from the Wildlands Trust. He and I had sent a letter to Mr. Koska mentioning the property and expressing our interest in talking to him about a possible conservation restriction, et cetera. Well, we didn't hear from him for years, and he called me about 2 months ago and said he wanted to talk. So there were two properties that he's wanted to talk about, and there's property off of East Street, which is adjacent to the Taunton River. It's off of Hiawatha Trail, where there are 3 or 4 houses that are in the process of being developed. I mean, there's 2 houses there now, and there's more. He has sold the property to another person, and Scott McFadden and I walked that Hiawatha Trail property down to the river and back up with Mr. Koska and the property owner's name, who I can't remember right now. And we were just looking at it. It's almost directly across from the property that Wildlands Trust now owns and back of the new subdivision. So what's that parcel? The 90 acres along the river. I forget what their Crescent. I forget what the name of what they're calling that is. But anyway, it's their newly acquired adjacent to the Taunton River. And then of course there's our property at Wyman and the Taunton border property owned by Wildlands Trust. So that's combined open space too. And it's all in the same area, and it's obviously Taunton River is prime wildlife and any kind of wildlife value and environmental value. So anyway, we were excited about it. We went out and walked it. So like I think it's about 16 acres. And I've had a conversation with Scott McFadden since about whether they might be interested in pursuing it. And that's as far as it's gotten. We haven't talked any further. There are some boundary issues that Scott was concerned about. One of the areas where we walked, it's clear that there were some houses built on East Street who have severely encroached the acreage in question, and they're not encroaching to the border of the river, but there would be issues that would have to be resolved. So we're going to pursue that. And the other one, and it was this pond at High and Cross Street. There's I think it's a 4-acre parcel that Mr. Koska owns there, and he is interested in having the town acquire it for free. And he kind of wants to see these 2 deals.
What streets?
It's at Pond and Cross.
South.
I'm sorry, what did I say? No, it's a pond at South and Cross.
Cross is the
Yes,
other
yeah,
side of
right.
town.
Yeah, right.
Side of
Yeah,
town, they don't-
so it's just, you just go past, a little bit south of Cross Street. There's a couple of houses, and then there's a pond, and it's quite visible from the road. It's overgrown with phragmites, but it is an open water. And David, did I ask you if you knew anything? Because there's a dam there. Did I ask you if you would look
I
at that?
went out and took a look. and
Okay.
The dam would be South Street itself, wouldn't it? Isn't that what's holding the water back?
Well, I guess, I don't, yeah.
There's not
to
much of
me-
an elevation change in there, so I can't imagine that it was ever a serious source of power.
Oh, I see. So you're, okay. Well, Scott called it a dam. That's why, and I just figured
Yeah.
he knew more about such things than I did, but
I've never walked the property, and so
Okay.
I don't know if there's something else.
yeah, I
More
don't think
structure
there is. He
there.
was just referring to that, I think, as he thought that might be, it's risky. That dams can be risky, even if they're
They
roads.
can, but there's very little elevation change in that area. so
Okay.
I don't see any great amount of pressure
I
that
see, okay,
could be
Oh,
exerted
okay,
against
okay.
South Street,
all right,
as long as they keep the culvert open.
Yeah.
Mosquito control will go in and do
Yeah.
that.
okay. All right, so, well, good, thank you. That's helpful. So Shane, my next question is to you. So I had mentioned this to you once. What I don't know, and I don't know really what to tell Mr. Koska, is under what conditions, circumstances would the town want to acquire property for free? Because he, of course, is not interested in paying taxes on it forever because it's no longer developable.
Sure.
He did get a couple of lots out of it, or 1 lot or something. So he's ready to just unload it from his portfolio. And he would like the town to acquire it. He would you know, it would be of no cost to the town. He, of course, hopes to get some tax benefit from it.
Sure, yeah.
But how does the town decide when and if?
I think it would go beyond just our department. I would say it'd be more of a town council.
Oh, yeah,
town
no, I
manager
understand.
question in
Yes,
terms of
right, yeah,
acquisition
yeah.
of property. Because there are some cases where people just want to donate land to be like, you know what, I'm off the tax roll for that.
Right,
It's just a matter of, need for the town level. Of course, we would like to protect as much land as possible. It's just the feasibility of doing so. The benefit that we've dealt with, especially with wildlands trust, and I think you were making reference to around the Taunton River and Perkins Preserve, what I think
Perkins Preserve,
that's what they've been calling
Yeah,
it, is that wildlands trust typically manages those
Yes,
properties
right.
where the difficulty of certain properties within town that we manage is just based on a basic, we're on a bare bones, barely
right, yeah,
maintenance schedule. So it really just comes down to if Wildlands Trust is interested.
Wildlands Trust is not interested in the pond.
Sure, I
Yeah,
wouldn't assume that they
yeah,
would be.
yeah.
But for the other property.
The other property.
For the
yeah,
pond,
Yeah.
the
no,
pond
yeah.
is, I guess we would have to evaluate what the
Yeah.
pond is, because what the town probably wants to look at it from a surface level thing. It's like, oh, it's a pond, but if there's issues in terms of what's in the pond and other things,
Yeah.
we have to determine what the liability is.
Right,
to
exactly, yeah.
Accept it.
Yeah. And then on the positive side, could be some connectivity, underground water
Absolutely.
sources or something where it's protecting, some outflow to the Taunton or
It's
whatever,
a
yeah.
matter of how we evaluate
Yeah.
that, and if it becomes, it's ultimately will become a council question in terms of
Right,
acquisition.
yeah.
But yeah, what level of service does that, pond provide to the
Right,
town?
okay,
And what benefit
okay,
it does.
all right. The town has done that sort of thing?
I'm
in
sure
the
that the
past,
town
or
has
you don't-
definitely
yeah.
acquired property in the past, or people have donated property to the town. It's
Yeah.
just typically the actionable item is that the owner says, I would like to donate this land to the town.
Yeah.
The town needs to make the determination if they want to accept it or
Okay.
not accept it.
Okay. Would you expect that before we did, the town council would have to accept it,
Sure.
but would the process be that the open space committee would go to planning, the CED, and, you and your number of staff that you don't have, where would this fit in?
I have no idea. It ultimately, from my standpoint, it would be essentially town manager or town council action, and they would refer to whatever respective subcommittees they would want to review.
I see, okay,
So-
okay, within the town council.
Correct. That's what I just, based on the orders of
Oh,
operations,
okay.
that's what I would assume would be the process.
Okay, all right.
Because
well,
it's
that's
eventually
good
gonna
know.
go to
All right.
them for a donation, but I don't know if it'll go to CED committee or rules and procedures and whomever.
Yeah, okay,
It's just a matter of how they want to distribute that
okay.
order of operations.
So would you
evaluation.
suggest the best thing to do would maybe for the open space committee is send a letter to the town manager?
Yeah, I think that'd be appropriate if that's, I think you guys have done that in the past for certain properties that have either gone up for sale or shown.
Yeah,
interest. It's
yeah.
just a matter of where that goes into the ether of town council
Right, yeah.
action or
Yeah, okay,
manager action.
okay. All right. I think that's, yeah, and the property off East Street, Hiawatha, that is a property I expect that Wildlands Trust would be interested in, and I think they are. It's just a question of where it falls on their priority of, acquisitions and examination and stuff.
Yeah, as well as responsibilities of the current property owner too. I think there was some replication area that was placed onto that property as well too. So making sure that they fulfill obligations that they may have had through
okay.
the notice of intent subdivision process and see where that's at
Is that,
prior
okay,
to.
yeah, okay,
Because we've had that instance where the north side of Oldfield Estates, that Wildlands Trust didn't accept the property until all drainage was taken off through an A&R. So Wildlands Trust doesn't have any interest in terms of managing subdivisions and managing drainage
I see,
from
yeah,
subdivision.
okay,
So
right.
they do their due diligence to make sure that if they
Yeah.
accept it, because if the assumption is that Hiawatha becomes a public roadway at some point, they don't want to take any drainage responsibility. They just
Okay.
want the passive recreational aspects that the area would take.
Okay, all right. Okay, good, that's helpful. All right, well, that gives me a little bit of, a little bit more to discuss then for my next contact with Scott, so, well, that's trust, so, okay. Any questions about that? Anybody?
I just want to throw a worst case scenario, Shane. Mr. Kosker is retiring.
Mhm.
He's
So he says.
semi-retired. He's out of, pretty much out of the business. So what if he just says, see you, and leave it up to the town for tax taking?
Well, I wouldn't advocate that people don't pay their taxes in
I know,
town,
I know.
but it is the easiest way to take your property. Yeah, it begs the question of that is always a possibility for him as a property owner to do. But that's up to him as ownership. But he could also pay taxes and do nothing with it and not maintain the property as well. So
Because he's not gonna get a tax benefit if he does.
Sure.
Yeah,
so
donate it.
it just becomes it's beneficial that he's looking to have the conversation in terms of either giving it to the town or whomever, but he could also just sell it to an adjacent property owner and then it's totally out of our hands. So
Right, but as a guy who owns 4 acres of swamp, he
Sure.
wants it.
especially from a town perspective, do we want it? Does it
Well, town
It's-
doesn't have any choice.
sure well if they don't pay taxes on it, correct, but there's possibilities with auction and all the other jazz. But yeah, that becomes a whole question of everyone watching pay their
Yeah.
taxes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's an issue that comes up with a lot of properties in town where you have a lot of properties, as you know, that don't have frontage, but owned by someone else. So it's like, what value does it have? When you look at it from an assessment standpoint, how do you assess
Right, yeah.
that as well too?
And in this case, I think the property that he's talking about is only on the west side of South Street.
South Street,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I don't know, and of course, it's very wet on the east
Yeah.
side as well, and
Yeah.
the water runs under that. So, anyway, so yeah, so I don't know. As it stands now, I mean, I guess if the bridge is the street, the town owns the street.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I guess, that's, because I know that was one of Wildman's concerns and dams.
Yeah.
Nonprofit boards get nervous about
They do.
acquiring dams, so, okay, all right, okay. I guess that's it. Anything else, anybody? Any other items for discussion? I'm not going to try to set another meeting at this point. I'm just going to wait and see how Maureen's schedule shakes out over the next month or two, and I have to talk with John and figure out my own as well. So we'll just, as I said before, well, Pat's heard this from me before. I'm not going to try to have monthly meetings anymore. I've taken on some other volunteer responsibilities starting next month that are going to take a lot of my time at my church, and I don't want to get off of this committee and leave it leaderless and quorumless, but so I will continue, but it's going to be at a reduced level of effort. And I know I haven't accomplished that much to begin with, but anyhow. Okay, so,
Yeah, you have. We've had a committee.
yeah. All right. Thank you all. Talk to you next time. Thank you for attending.
Okay,
All right.
bye.